Recording in progress.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Ben and Nate's Questions That We Ask Massage Therapists on the Internet. I'm one half of your host, Nate Fay, and I'm joining my good friend, Mr. Ben Stone, on the internets because we like to ask questions on our Facebook page. More importantly, we love it when you respond, and that's what makes our show fun, exciting, and informative.
And if you didn't know, our show is called Ben and Nate's Questions We Ask Massage Therapists. You can find us on Facebook. We also have Spotify. We also are on YouTube's. We're also, where else? Apple Podcasts. You can find us anywhere you like to listen to your podcasting episodes.
Hey, we're everywhere. And what I like to see, I look at our stats once a week when I upload these, and we've got consistency, Mr. Ben Stone. We've got consistency in our listeners out there. So this just makes it more exciting for us. And here we are, episode number 58.
58. I love it when the people in Peru show up to listen to our podcast. So just another shout out to you guys in Peru. Thanks for listening.
Me too, Ben. And we always talk about upping our game. So here we are. I've got a brand new laptop, and you and I spent about 30 minutes tonight trying to figure out some different settings. If you're watching us on YouTube, I look very orange because I'm in my Clockwork. This is a room in my house. It's my Clockwork Orange room. It's one of my favorite movies. So I have a themed Clockwork Orange room, which is making me look orange. But new laptop and microphones, check.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this or watching it, give us a shout out. Let us know how we sound audio wise, because we're always looking at, like Nate said, we're always looking to up our game. We're always trying to make it a little bit better, maybe just a little bit every single time. So
I'm not really orange though.
No, but he does look good. Like I told him I needed to up my video game and get my HD camera out because mine's looking a little soft, but you know what? I can deal with it.
So what do we got this week, Ben? What's our exciting question for the internet?
We threw out a question on our Facebook page to our awesome listeners and followers and watchers. And the question reads, what's something you always find yourself explaining to clients, friends, or family about what you do as a massage therapist? And so recently, I've been asking you, what's your hot take? Give me like 20 seconds about what's your hot take about this question, Nate. So just give me your initial reactions.
Everything that we talked about on our last episode, Ben, about wearing different hats. So what's something you find yourself explaining? Well, I do laundry. I clean my office every day, and I return emails. So where's the massage part and all that?
And that's my hot take is it's like the massage part's the easy part.
It's definitely the easy part.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, Ben, because for a long time, people come to us for a reason, right? People are referred to you because you did something great for your client. So they want their friend to come and see you that's been complaining about back pain for a long time. So then the clients turn around and sometimes they ask you, and I know they ask me, so what should I tell my friend that you do? And my answer constantly to those people, I always say, I have no idea. I have no idea what I do.
As I was doing a little bit of mental preparation for this episode and looking at that question, that is the exact same thing I came up with. Was the one thing that I tell people all the time about what it is I do as a massage therapist is I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, because I think that I don't know that you say and I say, and I'm sure plenty of us say, it comes from this place of it's like if you were a construction guy and you were going to tell me how to build a house, and that's an area that I just don't really understand. And so you're going to tell me about the tools that you're going to use and the measurements and everything and the materials that you're going to have to go buy. And it's going to make no sense to me. And I'm just going to look at you with blank eyes and know that in a month, I'm going to have a brand new house. So how do we tell people that, how do we explain it? That somehow through our hands, we apply these techniques and make people feel better.
Wow. And I've had so many people kind of try and explain it in their own words.
Yeah.
And just recently, somebody said, "Well, I described you as like a long chiropractic visit."
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I don't do the manipulation stuff, but possibly."
Well, right. And that's kind of weird too, because I actually get that quite a bit. I get one of my clients said, "You're like a slow chiropractor," which is actually one of my all time favorite descriptions. But then that gets weird too, because like you said, I don't want people to have this expectation that their body's going to make sounds other than air coming out of them as I'm working on them.
Yeah. Um, it's so hard there's so many different ways that people describe what we do. And then so many, like, I don't ever describe what I do the same way every time, too, because it's different for every person. Like, how am I going to connect with this person to get to the level of therapeutic necessity that I need to? How's that therapeutic necessity? I just made that up. Like, how am I going to get there with this person versus how am I going to get there with another person? Because some people are more on the level of, you brought this up to me. There's a person on the internet that I've seen doing these videos, and it's energetic work, and it's like she's doing karate in the air and making all
Yeah.
kinds of yeah, making all kinds of noises. And some people are totally into that, and I need to be more
I
on
love
that
it.
level. Yeah. And say, hey, we're going to work with your nervous system. We're going to help, we're going to help recalibrate. We're going to help retrain your muscles. We're going to help teach the brain to get away from fear and pain. And we're going to teach you to go to some other place where other people, it's like, we're going to stretch you. We're going to move some joints, and we're going to do some soft tissue manipulation. We're going to get in there, boom, 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 and you'll be good. Some people need one level,
Right.
some people need a different kind of explanation.
Yeah. And I think what is so relatable to everybody, right? So, chiropractic is probably the most relatable thing to the average person, even for somebody that has never been to a chiropractor, has this vision. Of course, the internet's made it easy for people, right? You're going to lay on a table, there's going to be some maybe techniques that are applied, and you're going to get these like cracks and pops and maybe feel better. And when you go to a traditional massage therapist, it's going to be an hour. It's going to be perhaps a head to toe and with a lot of strokes tied together that are maybe going to be relaxing, that are going to maybe sore and what some people might perceive as good, painful kind of stuff. Then people come and see somebody like us where we might fall in this in between category of manual therapy because of all of our training, and they know that our strokes aren't like a massage therapist, a traditional massage therapist that they've seen. And they know that we help them out with their pain. And so I think that whole slow chiropractic thing, or what did you say? A long chiropractic thing
Yeah, a long
comes from,
chiropractic session.
yeah,
Yeah.
comes from, well, you're doing something to help me with pain, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get mixed up. And it's always interesting because I'll have people say to me, well, I just want you to know that I had a guy tonight. I just want you to know that I got a deep tissue massage since I last saw you. And he's not relating what I do at all to massage therapy. In his mind, he has to go, they have to go get a massage because they're not relating what I do or what you do or what many of us do to massage. It's so different in their mind.
Yeah, everything from the intake to the process, everything is so different, and it's hard to explain to people. And I, that's our question is, how do you explain to people what you really do as a massage therapist? And it's just, I think for us, we're discovering that it's difficult.
Right. So go back to, you started to say, and I think we got lost in the conversation. You started to say, your client says I explain it this way.
Yeah, and that was I explain it as a long chiropractic
Yeah. So
session.
okay. So that was the bottom line. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So or slow. Yeah. So like we said. Okay. So of course, one of our listeners said folding a lot of sheets and blankets, which
That's a given right there. I mean, if you've done any kind of massage work, at least half of your time's probably doing sheets and cleaning and toilets and all that fun stuff.
right, right. But we can explain what we do. That like a chiropractor, like a massage therapist, that we use hands-on therapy. That we look at the body, not necessarily from an isolated standpoint. So if I have low back pain, I'm going to look at your low back, but sometimes I might want to look at your foot and ankle, or maybe I want to look at your upper back or your neck to see if there is a relationship there. And we do have time. So I have a long time with you, maybe 45 to 50 minutes, to look at all these variable areas to put a bigger picture together through the art of touch and assessment. But what that means, and what I'll say sometimes is what that means is that, what I do, because sometimes people will ask me, well, do you do the same thing to me that you'll do to the next person, to the next person? And I'm like, not at all. I said, if I have 6 sessions today, they're all 110% different. And I will say I use some techniques I'll use repeatedly throughout the day. So there might be a handful of techniques that everybody gets just because they're good, they feel good, and they work well. But my sessions are across the board, like yours and everybody else's are should be completely different.
Yeah. You just made me think of something. Um, I do end up explaining the same types of things to everybody. And I guess I'm in the realm of what I'm explaining to my clients and maybe not necessarily family and friends, but it is kind of the same thing.
Sure.
And I'm gonna pull a couple of pages or references from Walt Fritz because I really like the way he approaches things.
Yeah.
And one of the things is we have to have a reason to do something. So we have to have a story that justifies what we do. And if that clicks in your head, if you hear something and let's just take something easy like, oh, I'm gonna stretch your, I don't know, I'm gonna stretch your bicep to help your elbow, just something like that. And someone hears that and they're like, okay, that makes sense. So it makes sense in their head. And they hear the story behind why you need to do it. We need to work on the bicep because it crosses the elbow and, inserts on the radius, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense. You hear the story and you're like, okay, we need to have a story to justify why we're doing it. And so if that clicks in someone's head, if it jives with their own personal bias, then it's likely to be more helpful. So one of the things that I end up doing is I explain why I'm doing certain things to people as they're on the table. And I always throw in, this is what was taught to me, and this is the story that goes behind why I'm doing this. This story could change in a couple years, and I may end up doing something different. But
Right.
right now, this is the reason why I'm doing it. And a lot of times I hear them say, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense why you would do that. And so I think that helps get buy-in. That helps get a lot of things to help get people to be on board with why you're doing it, which would increase therapeutic value of the work. Boy, I just went on for a little while, didn't I?
I like it though. It's helpful. It's helpful to hear these perspectives. And at the end of the day, I think many people seek out therapies for whatever is in their brain. And sometimes people just might be biased to seeking out a therapy because they think it works. And I like that I feel like as the years go on, my clients are asking better questions as I'm working with them. And much like you and I do, right? As the years go on, you and I are getting pretty good at asking questions. And sometimes people might say to me, well, what do you think of cupping therapy? Or what do you think of dry needling? And we've talked about this. And I'll always say to people, things work, right? Things work, But I'll always say, and I didn't make this up, and I heard it somewhere, but things work, that just not for the reasons that you think it works, right? So cupping can work and feel good, but it just doesn't work for the reason that you think it is. Like putting marks all over your skin is not the meaningful part of the work per se,
Yeah,
necessarily.
absolutely.
And acupuncture could work, but maybe it's not for the reasons that you think. I think that sometimes people seek us out because they know that we're doing something different. And sometimes different maybe might feel good to them as a bias of, well, if it's different, maybe this is the thing that's going to help me. And there doesn't always require a lot of explanation. But I was thinking a lot when you were talking. I was thinking about a while back. You talked about the multi-layer why, right? And we did this when I came to Omaha a few months ago. And why do you do massage? But like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? What's your reason? And I've been put on this task to uh, define myoskeletal alignment technique. And so this is like the current task that I'm working on as things are kind of moving forward with adult myoskeletal. And it's kind of interesting as I've been thinking about this, because if you were a new student, right, and this goes right back to our question. If you were a brand new student coming to a class and I said to you, well, it's an osteopathic modality, would that mean anything to you as a brand new student?
Probably not.
Probably not. So like already, like we failed, so hey, Ben, we do brain-based body work. Does that mean anything to you?
Probably not.
Probably not. So as we kind of go back into our questions, and I want to tie this in nicely to what Jeremy said, and he says that if you get too detailed or up front, you're just going to start getting deer in headlights looks. So we can talk to people about how we, and this is Jeremy, one of our listeners, how we calm the nervous system. We do some home retraining. We help to restore posture. We help to restore mobility. And of course, all this is through the art of touch. Things that feel tight, make them relax, and go so on and so forth. Those are relatable things. Oh, you're going to improve my posture. So that's cool because I slouch. You're going to make this tight shoulder feel looser. That's cool. That's a relatable thing. You're going to help me breathe better. Well, I didn't know I had a breathing problem, but that sounds good. And that's maybe where it also starts to get a little unrelatable, because people are so out of touch with their bodies in general. So people don't maybe know that they're breathing weird. People don't know that they're doing these weird things throughout the day. So even that might be a little too far.
That's interesting. So it makes me think about when I was researching, putting together my continuing education class. One of the things that I came across that was interesting to me is if you are a beginner, it's probably not the best thing to go straight to a master to learn. So let's say a beginner is at level 1 and you're trying to learn from a level 10. The best thing to do is to try to learn from someone a couple levels above you, maybe a 3 to a 5, because you're going to get lost in all the weeds, that all of the details that the master is going to give you. So if you get the basics from a level 3 to 5, and then you slowly creep up and keep learning from someone a couple levels above you that you can understand. And so I think sometimes we may get into this because we've been doing massage for so long and we're explaining things to people at a level that they may not understand because we've been doing it so long. So kind of like going back to what you were saying, how do you explain myoskeletal work to someone who's a beginner?
Yeah, it's really difficult. But to the everyday client, again, I think it comes down to, if we were to put this together and in a relatable way, people can relate to pain. People can relate to posture, performance, movement. People can relate to all those things. People can relate to the tight spot in their low back or between the shoulder blades. So, if if someone were to ask me, well, how do you explain this to clients? And I kind of like putting all these answers together. I'm doing this on the fly, by the way,
Love
just
it.
based off of our answers and some of these answers and putting this together. And well, hey, listen, I work with people with pain. We can improve their posture, their mobility, their performance. And we just do this through manual therapy, through hands-on therapy.
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
I
it.
think it could be simple.
I mean, the simpler you can make it, the better
Yeah. What's
with
the old saying,
anything.
right? Keep it
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
And how many times do you get asked, what are you doing there? Or what is a knot? Or what is massage? What are you trying to accomplish with soft tissue manipulation? Like, why are you working there? How often do you get asked that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. And like I said, it's there's been this weird trend, or particularly over the last year in my practice, where people are just asking a lot more questions, and maybe they're a lot more curious. One of my clients this morning, great guy, like seeing him, and he's a high school basketball coach, and he's thinking about this stuff all the time. So he's like, one of these questions he asked me, he goes, "Hey, I've been seeing on this Instagram about a vagal nerve reset." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, I'll talk to you about that." I said, "That's like the hottest thing right now going on the internets." So I said, do you know what that nerve is? Do you know anything about it?" And he's like, "Well, no, not really." So I said, "Well, how much do you want to hear? Because I can give you like some basic education. It's your 10th cranial nerve. This is what it actually does, a lot more than people on the internet think about, right? It's got big jobs." And I said, you're working that nerve every day just by taking deep breaths, by going out and exercising, and by, meditating. So I said, you're already doing it. And he was like, "Oh, that's cool. Had no idea." So it's like putting some of these things in perspective that the internet heroes make really big deals out of. But I like that people are asking these questions.
I think it's helpful if you understand more about what someone's trying to do, it's going to be ultimately more therapeutically valuable to you.
People want magic, right? People just want magic and they want silver bullet answers. And I, whenever people do ask these questions, what is a knot, or what are you doing? Why are you there? What's a vagal nerve reset? What's a whatever, how come you don't do that thing where the guy ties me up on the table and yanks my neck as hard as possible and gets 90 pops? And I'll always say to people that, there's a lot of ways to work the body. This is just the route that I take. And one of the things that I'll say constantly in my practice, I'll say, if there was a magic answer, I always say I would either be doing it or I would be out of business because the guy down the road's doing it. And kind of sum it up that way for people.
Yeah, it's it's just funny to me that there's always like someone out there and there's always an approach. We're going to target your fascia. We're going to target the vagus nerve. We're going to target your lymph because we're blaming a certain structure of the body. And man, if it was that simple, nobody would have any problems because it'd be all fixed and we just whoosh, 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 and it'd be all fixed. Yeah.
And it's a shame because people get hung up on that. And some things I'll let go, right? Some things it's like I'm not gonna fight that battle. So when clients come in and they say, "Oh man, you're really working my fascia today," and I'm like, "Totally," because I want them to feel like they're part of this and they're part of their body. And if I'm constantly correcting them, like that's not cool. Like
No.
if they're happy, if they're like, "Oh my God, that feels so good. That fascial work you're doing, man, I can really feel you working on my periponatus muscle." And I'm like, "Yeah, totally, totally. We're doing this today."
Yeah.
So there's times and places for that hierarchy of,
And they're not wrong. I mean, you're working it
oh
along with
yeah,
tons of other
totally.
things. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's plenty of things. And we asked the question about, your family and friends. And this makes me think of something that you and I have talked about, right? When we first became a massage therapist, our family members thought we were nuts. Our friends probably made all the off-color jokes that our friends make, and it's funny, and we talked about this, they don't ask anymore because they just see that we're successful and happy. And we sure showed them.
That's right.
That's right.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah. But I noticed that my family and friends don't ask anything anymore, but what they do ask is like, hey, how's it going? You're
can I come see you?
Can I come? Yeah, right.
I got this thing in my neck. Can I come see you?
Remember what you said to me 20 years ago?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, should we go into takeaways? Should we talk about some of the things that stood out to us? What would you say is a big takeaway from what we talked about today?
It's I like the magic in the moment of these podcasts, and just quickly putting some perspective on things. So, keeping words relatable to people. And like I said, that was kind of a flyby, and not overcorrecting people either. If people think that you do long chiropractic and that's what the story they've made up in their head, or slow chiropractic or whatever it is, like so be it. I don't have to get up on my high horse and be like, well, I don't do adjustments, or whatever. People aren't gonna, and people think that, sometimes people think that we do, because some of these techniques might elicit that response, right? So like if you're doing a joint mobilization and somebody gets like a pop or a click, and I always tell people that's not purposeful. Like that's not the outcome. Like, I don't care if that happens. I'm not looking for that. But then they tell their friends, oh, he's totally going to pop your back. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I said, don't expect that. Don't expect that at all.
Right.
Yeah. So it can get kind of hairy, but always keeping the communication open. Ben, how about you?
Oh, just hearing, I think everyone's going to explain themselves and what they do frequently. Like, I kind of feel like when I see new people, I have to explain to them what I do, because that's what makes me me. And it's different from what Nate does. We do the same types of things. We've learned the same types of things, but we're still different in how we approach and how we apply and all that stuff. And so I think that's what makes everybody different. And just having to explain that to people over and over might be helpful, actually, in the long run, to get rehearsed about what you do, so that people can say, hey, I went to see this guy Nate, and he popped my bones, or whatever. They're able to explain it to their friends in a way that their friends is like, I want to go do that. I want to go have him help my shoulder. I want to have him help my low back. I want to have him help my ankle.
For sure. For sure. So,
yeah.
And at the end of the day, people come into your door for a reason, and they're already married to you. They're already married to you before they've gotten on your table anyway. We know that.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a fun one.
Good stuff. Nate, tell people, if they like listening to us, how can they support the show?
Well, subscribe and like our Facebook page, and just keep answering questions. Keep answering our questions. And, if you want to write a review on our podcast, on our Spotify podcast, go for it. That's helpful too.
Check us out on Ben and Nate's Questions We Ask Massage Therapists on the Internet Facebook page. If you have any questions that you want asked or answered by us, let us know there too. We're super easy to get a hold of, and we appreciate you listening.
See you next time.